guys, and welcome back to Witchcraft Wednesdays, the series where I talk about witchcraft on Wednesdays, except it's never actually on a Wednesday. It's a bit. The original idea was to post a video about witchcraft on Wednesday, but I don't think I've ever actually posted on a Wednesday. At this point, just to keep the bit going, if I film a Witchcraft Wednesday on a Wednesday, I will wait until Thursday to post it. And so it's kind of a whole thing. But anyway, today's Witchcraft Wednesday is about reincarnation. Now, reincarnation is the idea that this is not our first life. It's a popular belief in many different cultures around the world. And it is one that I personally believe in. And I have evidence. It's not a lot of evidence, but it's enough for me to believe. Now, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. But it is somewhat related. I believe that I must have been strangled or maybe hanged for witchcraft in a past life because I can't have anything bigger than a necklace touching my neck. A lot of people believe that their phobias are how they died in a past life. And so that is one thing that made me draw a link between the two, between my past life and the reason I can't have anything touching my neck. So, how I died in a previous life transferred over to a sensory processing disorder. And I've always been this way. Like, when doctors would feel here for, for giving me a checkup to whatever it is that they're feeling here, I hated that so much. I don't even like doing it on myself. And I can't wear anything with a collar, which made elementary school in the early 2000s hell. Because around that time, when I went into 3rd grade, we started having to wear uniforms. And you know what those uniforms were? Polo shirts and khakis. So apart from being really ugly, they also, I had to wear a collar. I can't deal with collars. I can't wear collars. So as soon as I got home from school, I would rip that thing off me. Sometimes I didn't even wait to get home. I would, as soon as I got in the car, we were still in the school parking lot, ripping that shirt off. Or dress, or whatever. It just had to have a collar. It had to be that style. But everything in that style for kids was really ugly. They just couldn't make anything cute. The skirts were at least a little cute, but it was always just plain khaki, There was no saving these outfits. And I couldn't stand them. And to this day, I can't I still can't have anything touching my neck. And that is actually a common link that people have made is, you know, things like birthmarks, phobias, all kinds of things are thought to, hint as to how you died in a previous life. Like, some believe that birthmarks are where you were fatally killed in your past life. That would be where a wound would be. Or a scar. And so that kind of led me to thinking, maybe my problems with anything touching my neck has something to do with how I died in a past life. And so that's how I came to that conclusion, is that I must have been strangled in a past life. Then, of course, we have my grandma's stories about her grandpa. I firmly believe that I was him in my previous life. The one right before this one. Because we had a lot in common. He died before I was born, obviously. But we had a lot in common. Like, he was an artist. He had all these drawings that apparently my great-great-grandmother threw away for whatever reason. So we no longer have them. My grandmother also said that he loved babies. Like, if they were at like a party and there was a baby, he was holding the baby. And that is me. Like, I don't think I've ever, aside from like kids' birthday parties when I was a kid, I don't think I've ever willingly gone to a party where there wasn't a baby present. If it wasn't a baby, it was a toddler. Anything else I had been dragged to because it was a family function or whatnot. And I would find an excuse to leave early. Usually that excuse is pretty easy because most of them had dogs and I'm allergic to dogs, so I'd just say my allergies would bother me. And to be fair, they were bothering me. Even if I didn't go near the dog, I couldn't spend more than maybe 2 hours at most in that house. I could spend longer if I spent all my time outside, but even then, I would just get tired of being around people. I would get overstimulated and then I would want to leave. Even if I had no contact with the dog or the inside of the house where the dog was living. So, yeah. Then of course there's my grandma's paranormal experiences after he died. So yeah, back to my great-great-grandfather. After he died, every now and then she would just smell his cologne. Like it would be 20 years after he died or whatever. And she would just randomly smell his cologne that he would always wear. And the last time she smelled his cologne was the night before I was born. She stopped. She said it was like he was saying one last goodbye before he entered his next life. So there are different theories as to how reincarnation happens, but most commonly, the soul dies, it'll, wander around the ghostly plane for a little while, or as we call it, the astral plane, but not everyone knows that word. So yeah, they'll just kind of wander around that plane until they're ready to move on to their next life. Once they've let go of everything holding them to this one, then they'll go through a process of entering their new body and forgetting everything from their previous life. A lot of times there will be instances of kids who remember their past lives, but as they get older, they completely forget. Like, I remember hearing a story about this little boy who was able to direct his parents to a house in a country that he had never been to. And he said that that was his house. So they looked it up, and there was the man who lived there, died around the time, who lived and grew up in that house had like died around the time the kid was born. And all that. My personal belief about the in-between stages, it can last anywhere from like a few hours to like 100 or so years. It just depends on the person and when they're ready to let go. Some people have a harder time letting go because they have regrets in their life, or there's some things that they just don't want to leave behind, like a loved one. They want to stick around and just stay near that person to help them, just, I guess, with moral support. I don't know, because like ghosts can't really interact with our world. The ones that can are poltergeists, and those are the dangerous ones. But ghosts themselves are completely harmless because they can't interact with our world. In a lot of the movies, it takes like a really strong emotion in order to be able to interact. And I think that makes a lot more sense than like poltergeists and ghosts being two different things. Like poltergeists have this strong emotion attached to them, and so that's why they're able to interact with us. It's because they have a reason to. Poltergeists aren't inherently evil, but they can be seen as harmful. And what I know about the difference between ghosts and poltergeists is all just what I've learned from research, and a lot of that research came from horror movies. In my teens, I was a horror movie binge watcher. And I still love a good horror movie. It's just these days it's hard to find one that actually scares me. I've seen too many. And I am a little embarrassed to say that I laughed in one of the Friday the 13th movies. I think it was Killer Cut, when that one girl was being burned alive in a sleeping bag over a campfire. 'Cause, like, what the fuck? There are way easier ways to kill someone. You would have to... I keep thinking about the technical stuff of it. Like, you'd have to... There would have to conveniently be, like, a branch from a tree or something in order for Jason to have, you know, strung her up like that, suspended her above the campfire. Plus, she was covered in oil. Yeah, if you ever find yourself stuck in a horror movie, don't go off alone, don't have sex, and don't investigate the creepy sounds. That's all I have to say. Yeah, she broke the second rule. The girl was buck-ass naked, covered in oil, in a sleeping bag, suspended above a campfire, and I found it funny how much effort Jason put into her death when he has a literal machete that he could have used to just slice her up. So yeah, I might be a little messed up. So yeah, okay. Well, if you guys have any reincarnation stories, or if you're part of a culture that believes in reincarnation, let me know what you thought about my experiences, or feel free to share your own. This is a safe space. I will not judge you, and I highly advise the people in the comments not to judge as well. Like, every time I post one of these videos, I get a comment saying that I need to find Jesus or something like that, and I always respond to that with, tried that, didn't work out. We decided to go our separate... God and I decided to go our separate ways. You know, or something along those lines, because that's exactly what happened. I was raised in a Christian family, but not religious, really. We stopped going to church, like, before I had even entered kindergarten. And we just celebrated the holidays. But we didn't actually read the Bible or believe any of the stuff in it. And so for a while I was agnostic, and then while doing my own research on different religions and stuff, I found Wicca. And the beliefs of Wicca matched the beliefs that I had already formed myself through research. And so So that's how I became a Wiccan. The witch part was really just for fun. Witchcraft isn't really part of my faith. It's just something I do for fun. Because not all Wiccans are witches. And not even all witches are Wiccans. You know, they're two completely different things. You can be a witch without being a Wiccan, and you can be Wiccan without being a witch, but it is not at all uncommon to find a Wiccan witch. A lot of Wiccans are also witches. A lot of witches are also Wiccan, and you get it. All right. Thanks for coming to Witchcraft Wednesday. I will see you in the next one, whenever that will be. I haven't really had time to record lately. Bye.